It's the kind of news that shakes the NFL world to its core. One of the brightest stars in the Dallas Cowboys organization, Trevon Diggs, is officially out, and the announcement has left fans in complete shock. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody expected the Dallas Cowboys to make a move so monumental, so sudden, and so controversial that it would send ripples through every corner of the football community. But here we are. Trevon Diggs is gone, and everything just changed. There are moments in the NFL calendar when things feel routine. OTAs, training camps, preseason hype, all part of the rhythm. But every so often, something detonates with such force that it cuts through the noise, dominates the headlines, and captures the attention of fans across the nation. Today was one of those days. Early reports began to trickle in, hinting at a massive shift within the Cowboys secondary. At first, it was hard to believe. Trevon Diggs? The Pro Bowl cornerback? The heart of the Dallas defense? It couldn't be. But within minutes, the news was confirmed. He's out. Officially, the Cowboys and Trevon Diggs are parting ways, and the fallout is immediate. The story began behind closed doors, as it often does, in the high-stakes world of professional football. Diggs had signed a 5-year, $97 million extension just last season, securing his place in the Cowboys' future. Or so we thought. What followed in the months after that signing were injuries, setbacks, and behind-the-scenes tension that never quite made it to the headlines until now. There were whispers of dissatisfaction, not just from Diggs' camp, but also from the Cowboys' front office. Issues with recovery timelines, disagreements over defensive schemes, and most of all, concerns about long-term durability and value. Trevon Diggs, known for his ball-hawking instincts and elite playmaking ability, had cemented himself as one of the premier cornerbacks in the league. With 18 interceptions in his first 3 seasons, he drew comparisons to some of the all-time greats. But then came the torn ACL, a brutal, season-ending injury that left fans devastated and cast a long shadow over his future. Diggs worked hard to recover, and by all accounts, he was making steady progress. But something changed in the Cowboys' front office. Concerns grew, evaluations shifted, and when the time came to make a tough decision, the team pulled the trigger. According to sources close to the situation, this move was not about a lack of talent. Nobody questions Diggs' ability. What raised eyebrows inside the organization was the risk-reward calculation. Can they rely on a player returning from a major injury to anchor their secondary for years to come? And is his style of play, which relies so heavily on explosiveness and quick reaction time, sustainable post-surgery? The Cowboys didn't want to find out the hard way. So they made a move that will be debated for years. What makes this situation even more intense is the financial side. Trevon Diggs was owed a massive chunk of guaranteed money, over $40 million remaining on his deal. But the Cowboys, in what many are calling a cold, calculated move, have decided to absorb the short-term financial hit in order to reshape their defense. The decision clears cap space, long-term, and opens up a path for younger, cheaper talent to step into starting roles. But at what cost? Fans have taken to social media in droves to express their disbelief. Many are angry, feeling blindsided by a front office that has made bold moves before, but never one quite like this. Others are more understanding, pointing to the reality of the NFL. It's a business, and in business, tough decisions must be made. Still, the emotional weight of losing a player like Diggs, a homegrown star, a fan favorite, and a leader in the locker room is immeasurable. Inside the locker room, reactions are reportedly mixed. Some teammates are stunned. Others saw the writing on the wall. Diggs had been noticeably absent from several key team activities in recent weeks. While the official narrative was focused on rehab and recovery, insiders now reveal that Diggs and the team had grown increasingly distant. communication reportedly broke down, and trust began to erode. When you combine that with the enormous financial commitment and looming questions about his return, the decision, while shocking, begins to make strategic sense. As for Trevon Diggs, sources close to the cornerback say he's devastated but motivated. He believed he had done everything right during rehab. He believed the Cowboys were committed to him. Now, he feels betrayed, and he's ready to prove them wrong. Expect him to sign elsewhere quickly. There are already rumblings from at least 4 NFL teams reaching out within hours of the announcement. One NFC East rival is even said to be very interested, which could make this situation even more explosive. And what about the Cowboys' defense moving forward? Losing Diggs is not a small adjustment. It's a seismic shift. The secondary will now rely heavily on younger players like Darren Bland, who emerged as a standout last season, and veterans like Stephon Gilmore if he returns. But depth becomes a concern. So does leadership. Diggs was more than a player, he was a tone-setter. His presence on the field changed the way quarterbacks approached the Dallas defense. Without him, that dynamic shifts dramatically. Stephen Jones addressed the media just hours after the news broke, and his tone was measured but firm. This was a football decision. We have a tremendous amount of respect for Trevon and everything he's done for this organization. But at the end of the day, we have to make decisions that position us for long-term success. We believe this was one of those decisions. Unsurprisingly, Stephen A. Smith weighed in almost immediately. On his show, he didn't hold back. This is typical Dallas. Flash, drama, and chaos. How do you let a player like Trevon Diggs walk out the door when you're trying to build a Super Bowl defense? If they don't have something huge coming down the pipeline, this is going to haunt them. And that's the big question now. What comes next? You don't just release a star cornerback without a plan? The Cowboys must be eyeing something bigger. Rumors are swirling about a possible trade for a top-tier defensive player, or a major move in the upcoming draft. Some are even speculating that Dallas could shift its focus to the offensive side and invest heavily in reinforcing their passing game to offset any potential decline on defense. One name that keeps popping up in connection to the Cowboys now is Patrick Surtain, II, of the Denver Broncos. Could Jerry Jones be orchestrating a move to bring in another young, elite corner to fill the void? It's pure speculation at this point, but if history tells us anything, it's that the Cowboys never sit still for long after a blockbuster decision. Meanwhile, Diggs' brother Buffalo Bills wide receiver, Stefon Diggs, has already posted a cryptic message on social media. Sometimes the ones you give the most to give you the least back.